Hey everyone, my name is Dylan from Gunspot.com, here for the Armory Life, and in this video we're going to be talking about the loaded Marine Corps Operator from Springfield Armory. Springfield Armory has a line of 1911 A1 pistols that have the title of loaded. Among this lineup, there are some of more traditional looking 1911s, including one target shooting version that's chambered in 9mm, but the rest of them are in God's caliber, and yes, of course, I'm talking about 45 ACP. Today, though, we're going to have a really special look at one of them called the Loaded Marine Corps Operator. And this thing, in my opinion, is the sickest looking one out of the whole bunch of the loaded line. It has this beautiful OD green lower and a black slide. It also has some things that others in the loaded line don't have. The color is one obvious thing. Second, it has a Picatinny rail so that you can equip a flashlight or a laser like you see on this one here. The other thing that the other 1911s in the loaded line doesn't have that this one does is checkering on the front of the grip, which is superb. Springfield Armory calls this the Octo Grip checkering, and it's great for gripping a 1911. If you ever shoot a 1911 like this one that has the texture on the front of the grip, and then you have to go shoot one that's smooth on the front, it's definitely going to be something that you miss. You kind of can't backtrack. It's something that's super needed and well appreciated. The name of the gun, like I said, is the 1911 Loaded Marine Corps Operator. It's chambered in 45 ACP. The barrel is 5 inches with a 1/16 twist. The weight is 43 ounces. The overall length is 8.6 inches. The sights are low profile combat 3-dot tritium. It has G10 grips and it's a single action. And like I said, the finish is black and OD green, which I think looks really sharp, and the capacity is 7+1 with an MSRP of $1,308. If you purchase this 1911, it's going to ship out with a nice soft carrying case and 2 magazines. This 1911 is pretty sweet. It's definitely the coolest 1911 to date that I've been sent by Springfield Armory to be able to review. The only negative that we've noticed as far as the design would actually not be related to the gun, but more that the magazines that the gun ships with. The magazines that it ships with are traditional 1911 magazines with a steel follower that's straight. These are a little harder to load because sometimes the steel lip on the follower can catch on the edge of the magazine as you're pressing the first round down. This is really only an issue, like I said, on the first round. After you clear it, it's really not an issue after that. Something that we'd like to see that we think could improve the experience would be its shipping with magazines with polymer followers instead of the steel ones, or at least a magazine with a curved follower that's already dipped down. That way it's not going to catch on that lip as you load the first magazine. If you purchase this and you actually experience that problem and you want some magazines with polymer followers that are curved that load easier, Wilson Combat makes 1911 magazines like this. You could just buy one of their brand magazines, and it works fine with this. We actually ran one of the 8+1 magazines for our review with this gun. Okay, that's it for our studio portion of this review. Let's head out on the gun range with Grant and talk about how this thing performed.
So we've just finished our range session with Springfield's Loaded Operator. Have just over 100 rounds on the gun. Not an issue at all with the gun anyway. I did use an aftermarket magazine of my own that was pretty worn out. It was an 8-rounder, and it surprised me early on when it failed to lock the slide back on the last round. So I would immediately go into some remedial action, tap, rack, bang, and of course I got a click again, and then the light bulb came on a little bit slow that it wasn't the junky ammo that we were using, and it was the magazine failing to lock back. But other than that, the gun shot great. It's a good gun. I personally find an OD frame gun and the black slide is my personal favorite combination. The black and OD green, again, it just sets it off. In a 1911, which I'm not the biggest 1911 guy, but when I pick one up, if it has front grip checkering, it endears itself to me, so I love that particular part. I like the utility nature of the rail. Of course, who doesn't like the looks of a 1911? It's probably one of the just sexiest handguns ever made. I would personally like to see a red dot on it. If you're gonna call it loaded, let's really load it up and put modern technology in that capability on it. But it shot well. I like how it shoots. The recoil impulse is not bad or negative in any way. It is a 1911, but it performed really well. I'm very happy with it in that regard. Trigger pull is nice. The only disagreement that I have with the gun so far has been in the magazines, and it's just really nothing to do with how the gun performs with the magazines in them. It all boils down to when you are loading from the empty. That follower, to me, which is really kind of old school technology follower, it has a tendency when you press it down that the follower hits the frame of the magazine, and you kind of have to push it back to get that first round started in the mag. And of course, once you have the first round in the mag, it's fine. The rest of them go in correctly. Didn't have any feeding issues associated with the mags. But if this were my loaded operator, I would replace these with an upgraded magazine with maybe a nylon follower or a curled edge follower that allows me an easier start of loading, just because I like that. And I'm shooting a lot of rounds when I go to the range. I'm not what you would call a casual shooter that fires a box and goes home. We've shot 115, 120 rounds through this gun, and if GunSpot would let me, I would probably run 1,000 rounds through it today, just because that's how I like to shoot when I go to the range every other day. No, I wish, but yeah, it's just a kind of an annoyance to me. But as far as functioning, I had no issues with function, just getting that first round started. But if you're looking for, to me, what really does look like an operator style of 1911, all the modern controls, ambi safety, improved or enhanced beaver tail, grip safety, it has that. Front slide serrations, obviously, those things that make a 1911 more in line with a combat handgun that we expect today. It's got that. So very happy with it. And again, I love the color choice that they went with. It was like they were peering in my head what would Grant like. I may be the only guy out there, but I love black and OD together. All right, folks, that's been our review of the Loaded Operator by Springfield. Thanks for watching, and remember, train hard, your family deserves it.